Noob Saibot's shadow sprints toward the victim and leaps into their shadow on the floor. Shadow energy ripples through them, and the shadow clone bursts from their back. Noob Saibot pulls the victim while the shadow clone grips their vertebrae and rips out their skeleton.
Fatality. Noob Saibot wins.
Noob Saibot turns into a crocodile and conjures a shadow crocodile. They bite each of the victim's legs and rip their body apart down the middle.
Animality. Noob Saibot wins.
Cyrax glides around the victim using friction assist, tossing sticky bombs onto them. Foam expands from the bombs to dismember them. Cyrax shatters the solidified foam with a flying sidekick.
Fatality. Cyrax wins.
Ermac levitates his victim, limbs akimbo. He rotates their torso to sever their arms and legs at each joint, then smashes the shuffled limbs inward. The bloody pulp falls to the ground.
Fatality. Ermac wins.
Ermac turns into a locust swarm that spirals around the victim, shredding their skin and flesh until they become a gore-drenched skeleton.
Animality. Ermac wins.
Kitana flings her fan blades. They form a vortex that lifts the victim into the air and shreds them into pieces, showering the ground with gore.
Fatality. Kitana wins.
Retry fatality.
Kitana transforms into a large hummingbird before impaling the victim with a flurry of beak strikes. Their body unpeels into 4 segments, and she sips their spurting blood.
Animality. Kitana wins.
Mileena plunges her side blades into the victim's shoulders, forcing them down, then unfurls her mandibles and bites open their skull before slurping up their brain and devouring their mutilated head whole.
Fatality. Mileena wins.
Mileena transforms into an orchid mantis. She gobbles the victim's head with her mandibles, spraying gory pulp everywhere. She uses her 4 legs to rip them in half.
Animality. Mileena wins.
With her staff, Tanya bashes the victim's head to twist it backwards. She jams the staff down their throat, then yanks it out, holding their head and spine. She flings the head.
Fatality. Tanya wins.
Tanya turns into a giraffe, bites the victim, then slams them repeatedly into the ground. Their limbs pop off and their blood bursts with each impact.
Animality. Tanya wins.
Sektor activates the rocket boosters on her palms, then thrusts them onto the victim's chest. Flames surge over their skin and erupt from their mouth and eyes. Sektor blasts a huge column of flame at them, leaving only smoldering ashes.
Fatality. Sektor wins.
Sektor turns into a rhino and rams the victim. She shoves them across the ground, scraping off their skin, then stomps their torso.
Animality. Sektor wins.
Takeda wraps his whip blades around the victim, encircling them several times. He pulls, tightening the whips to grind their torso to a bloody mist. As their head pops off, Takeda bisects it.
Fatality. Takeda wins.
Takeda leaps into a hole in the ground filled with water and turns into a kraken. He yanks the victim into the water with a tentacle, twists them apart, then chomps their upper body with his beak.
Animality. Takeda wins.
Shang Tsung forces a potion's white-hot fluid down the victim's throat. Then he cuts their belly open with his vambrace spikes, making it gush onto the floor. The victim's skin sloughs off as they melt into a puddle of the fluid and their liquefied flesh.
Fatality. Shang Tsung wins.
With a swipe of his axe, General Shao sends his victim airborne. He leaps up to grab their wrist, then whirls them around with enough force to flay all the flesh from their bones.
Fatality. General Shao wins.
General Shao transforms into a grizzly bear. He lopes forward to swipe his claws at the victim, then clamps his jaws into their back while thrashing them around. He sinks his teeth into their head, crushing it.
Animality. General Shao wins.
Sindel's silver hair snakes toward the victim. It wraps around both arms, snaps them, then rips them off. Sindel struts forward as her hair holds the victim aloft by their wounds.
Who's your queen?
Sindel rips their spine out through their throat.
Fatality. Sindel wins.
Rain conjures a column of water, then spins his staff to turn it into a vortex. The victim's limbs detach and their skin is filleted by the spinning water. Rain pulls his arms apart, splitting the vortex and cutting the victim in half.
Fatality. Rain wins.
Rain shapeshifts into a pufferfish. He burrows down the victim's throat until he inflates in their torso. The victim bursts into a cloud of viscous blood.
Animality. Rain wins.
Smoke throws bombs at his feet, dashing in and out of smoke clouds as he slices off his victim's arms. He punctures their throat, then jams a grenade in their mouth. It disintegrates their jaw.
Fatality. Smoke wins.
Smoke turns into a gorilla, then wrenches the victim apart by their jaw. Streaks of blood burst from their chest and fly through the air.
Animality. Smoke wins.
Scorpion strikes the ground to send the victim airborne, then throws two rope darts which curve through the victim's torso into their skull. He rips their head off.
Fatality. Scorpion wins.
Scorpion transforms into an armored scorpion. He drags the victim close to puncture them with his stinger, then flings them up to slice them in half with a pincer.
Animality. Scorpion wins.
Reptile rushes at the victim in his lizard form and turns invisible. He bites down on their head, then swallows them whole as he turns visible. He vomits them out in a puddle of acid and bile. As the victim's skin burns, Reptile smashes his hand into their head, pulverizing it. Blood gushes out.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Reptile launches his tongue and wraps it around the victim's throat, drooling acid that disintegrates their hands. He rips their head off and crushes it in his maw, spraying blood and brains everywhere.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Reptile transforms into a Venus flytrap, then shoots out a prehensile tongue to snag the victim. He snaps his saw-toothed mouth closed several times, crushing him to pieces.
Animality. Reptile wins.
Sub-Zero throws an ice boomerang that slices through the victim's abdomen. Sub-Zero spin kicks their upper body to face backwards. The ice slams into their head, and their torso slides to the ground.
Fatality. Sub-Zero wins.
Sub-Zero turns into a mammoth, gores the victim with his tusk, then rips them in half with his trunk as blood surges from their torso.
Animality. Sub-Zero wins.
Li Mei punches through the victim's stomach and yanks out their guts. She clenches her fist and a purple spark of energy slithers along an intestine toward her victim. She kicks their head off and the spark explodes their severed head like a bloody firework.
Fatality. Li Mei wins.
Li Mei turns into a panda, gently rolls toward the victim, then bites their arm off. They fall, and Li Mei sits on their head, popping it while idly chewing on their arm.
Animality. Li Mei wins.
With a flick of his wrist, Kenshi magically immobilizes his victim. Their head is forced backward to watch as Sento drills down their throat. Kenshi lifts his victim into the air, and Sento withdraws to slice them open from pelvis to skull.
Fatality. Kenshi wins.
Kenshi plunges his swords into the ground, turning into a wolf as he summons a spirit wolf. They rabidly bite out chunks of the victim, then clamp their jaws on both sides of them before slowly ripping them apart, making blood fountain from their chest.
Animality. Kenshi wins.
Reiko whirls his spear to slice off the victim's limbs. He stabs them through their gut, then jams the spear in the ground to hold the wriggling torso aloft. Reiko yanks down on their ribs, forcing the spear up through their mouth.
Fatality. Reiko wins.
Reiko transforms into a ram with huge curved horns. He knocks the victim back with a forceful charge. As they vomit blood, Reiko's second charge carves straight through them.
Animality. Reiko wins.
Raiden punches the victim airborne, then calls lightning down through their abdomen. He leaps through the victim's stomach, blasting them in half before using his lightning to hold and slam the two halves together.
Fatality. Raiden wins.
Raiden transforms into a huge electric eel before constricting the victim, flooding them with electricity until their head erupts in a fountain of blood, spewing bits of skull and brain.
Animality. Raiden.
Liu Kang throws a fiery punch. He releases colossal glowing dragons that chomp the victim's arms to haul them into the air. He saws and drives their head to the ground, which splits their body in half and crushes their head.
Fatality. Liu Kang wins.
Liu Kang turns into a giant phoenix and wraps his wings around the victim. An inferno engulfs them, reducing them to a huge pile of ash and bones. Liu Kang bursts from the ash in a pillar of fire.
Animality. Liu Kang wins.
Talk about talent. Meet Hollywood's newest star.
Johnny slams the victim's face down onto a dark stone plaque with their name engraved on it. He snaps a selfie with their smashed open face.
Fatality. Johnny Cage wins.
Johnny Cage stands with the victim on a film set and dons a shark costume as a clapperboard appears. Now in the ocean, Johnny is a great white shark who chomps the victim, making them burst into bloody chunks.
Animality. Johnny Cage wins.
Kung Lao throws his hat, slicing through the victim's shoulders and knees. The hat flies and decapitates them. Then Kung Lao grabs it and cleaves their body in half.
Fatality. Kung Lao wins.
Kung Lao turns into a tiger and bites onto the victim's head before thrashing them. He lets go, and as their eyes shift in their skinned face, he sinks his fangs into their spine and rips it out.
Kung Lao wins.
Glowing wings expand from Ashara's back as she ascends. Daggers of light fly from her wings at her victim and pierce their chest and throat. She drops to the ground and incinerates them.
Fatality. Ashara wins.
Ashara transforms into a winged unicorn and teleports behind the victim before impaling their head with her horn and exhaling a torrent of rainbow fire over their writhing body until they're a charred husk.
Animality. Ashara wins.
Baraka stabs his metal forearm blades into his victim's torso. He lifts them up and pierces through their face. The victim plops to their knees.
Fatality. Baraka wins.
Baraka turns into a giant porcupine. He throws the victim upward and shoots quills at them. They fall onto his back, skewered on his quills.
Animality. Baraka wins.
Geras summons whirling sand. He grabs the victim and shoves them into it, grinding away half of their body and bloodying the sand. He slams the remains into the floor, making them burst apart.
Fatality. Geras wins.
Geras belly flops, then emerges as a huge hippo. He chomps the victim, bursting them into a shower of gore.
Animality. Geras wins.
Ommi Man flies the victim into a subway tunnel and he grips their head to face an oncoming train full of people. Passengers are ripped to pieces as the victim is carved through the train, spraying blood everywhere. Omni Man hovers, holding the victim's severed head.
Fatality. Omni Man wins.
Omni Man turns into a colossal tentacle-faced monster, then smashes the victim with a clawed hand before scooping them into his maw. He bites onto their waist and yanks them apart with a tentacle, making their guts spill out with a shower of blood.
Omni Man wins.
An alien butterfly emerges from the victim's mouth. As it hovers nearby, Peacemaker aims his shotgun.
Damn it.
He blasts off the victim's arms, a leg, then shoots a hole in their chest as the butterfly evades. When it lands gracefully on the muzzle, Peacemaker snatches and crushes it.
Fatality. Peacemaker wins.
Peacemaker turns into an eagle. He and Eagly swoop and wing slice the victim's legs off. Peacemaker blasts them with assault rifles before Eagly explodes them with a grenade. Peacemaker stands on their skull as Eagly flies past with a USA flag.
Animality. Peacemaker wins.
Ghostface slices the victim's throat, then knocks them to the ground while stabbing their chest. On a couch, Johnny mashes buttons on a controller.
What? Oh, come on! This is bullshit! He's a dude with a knife!
Ghostface emerges to stab his chest as blood spatters the screen.
Fatality. Ghostface wins.
Welcome to Fatality Practice. Close Judgment Day. Down button. Right button.
The T-1000 drives a tow truck, barreling into the victim. He pops out the broken windshield and climbs to where the victim is pinned against the grill, firing a submachine gun into their chest. The truck collides with a wall and explodes as the fluid metal T-1000 walks calmly out of the flames.
Fatality. T-1000 wins.
Ghostface transforms into a condor, then dives at the victim. He shreds their chest with his hooked beak before ripping their spine out through the bloody cavity.
Animality. Ghostface wins.
T-1000's liquid metal morphs into a German shepherd in a police dog vest. He clamps his jaws onto the victim's forearm, throwing them to the ground as he wrenches it off. He bites and yanks their head off, taking their spine with it.
Animality. T-1000 wins.
Nitara takes flight and seizes her victim by the jaw. She forces their mouth wide open as a colony of bats glide straight down their throat. She rips apart their wriggling torso to release the bats.
Fatality. Nitara wins.
Nitara turns into a giant vampire bat and snatches the victim. Later, she hangs upside down with the victim wrapped in her wings. Nitara gouges out their eye sockets with her fangs, then bites off their head in large chunks.
Animality. Nitara wins.
Havik rips open his own chest and yanks out his putrid heart. He rips out his victim's heart, then shoves his pulsing green one in its place. Havik's heart detonates, splaying open their chest cavity.
Fatality. Havik wins.
Havik mutates into a rotting hyena and pounces on the victim's torso. Blood gushes out as he wrenches out their intestines, then chews on one.
Animality. Havik wins.
Quan Chi conjures 5 tall panes of glass which slice the victim vertically. He separates them, exposing a grisly cross-section before dispelling the glass.
Fatality. Quan Chi wins.
Quan Chi transforms into a T-Rex skeleton before flinging the victim into the air with his jaws, catching them and chomping them into chunks that slide into his ribcage.
Animality. Quan Chi wins.
Homelander punches the victim up into the sky. They slam into the nose of a passenger plane. Homelander grabs the victim's head, then releases them to be pulped by the plane's turbine. As the plane plummets, Homelander salutes to a frantic passenger inside.
Fatality. Homelander wins.
Homelander turns into a red, white, and blue griffin, then hurls the victim upward. He cleaves them at the waist with his talons, then shoots lasers from his eyes until they explode into a shower of fried flesh globs.
Animality. Homelander wins.
Conan kicks his victim toward a witch's cauldron, then slices off their arm. He rams his sword through their mouth, then shoves them into the bubbling green liquid. The victim convulses as their flesh melts. Conan lifts the sword with the victim's skull skewered on it.
Fatality. Conan wins.
Conan throws his sword, then transforms into an ancient bull. He charges, spears the victim's head with a horn, then bucks while slamming their body around. He spins to slice them along the blade of his sword where it is lodged in the ground.
Conan wins.
Janet uppercuts the victim's head off.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Ferra hooks and flips over the victim to slice them in half.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Stryker struts up to the victim and fits a variety of grenades and C4 to their chest. He walks away and clicks a detonator.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Scorpion reveals his flaming skull. He spits flames which burn, then explode the victim.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Serena plunges her fiery claws into the victim's chest, tearing open a hole which leaves their heart dangling. She skewers their beating heart with her tail, then tosses them.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Cyrax steps out and releases a load of explosives from his metal chest which surround the victim. They detonate, shattering the earth into a million pieces.
Fatality.
Sub-Zero glides in and freezes the victim's neck to wrench off their head.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Kung Lao slices the victim in half.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Cyber eye shining, Kano plunges his hand into the victim and rips out their bleeding heart. The victim falls.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Sonya blows a sparkling pink kiss which sets the victim on fire. She salutes.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Shujinko spears his fingertips toward the victim's chest in swift jabs. The victim stumbles back while vomiting blood, then their sternum explodes.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Motaro grabs the victim's arms and jams his mechanical tail into their forehead. It detonates, exploding their torso.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
A massive clamp deploys from Sektor's chest and compresses the victim into a bloody pulp.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Frost touches the victim's chest, freezing it. She punches them to the floor, shattering their torso and exposing their skeleton.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Goro jumps down and grabs the victim with his lower set of hands. He smashes their head with his upper hands and tears them in half.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Retry fatality.
Tremor rolls a molten rock sphere which enlarges to bowl over his victim. It pulverizes their torso.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Chameleon slices the victim's neck, then throws her side blades to shear off their head.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Madame Bo tosses a full serving tray upward, then kicks the victim's head off. She catches the tray, followed by all the dishware, and finally the victim's head.
Fatality. Reptile wins.
Movado slings his elastic whips into the ground by the victim's feet. He stretches back, then leaps through them feet first.
Fatality. Reptile wins.